As you can see by diagram F, Pointed Shade, Piney Leshy, and warrior of the Shireen Grove tribe of the Gungair Forest made a prime mistake in his defences when Talaxian agents attempted to burn the forest down. Does anyone here know what that mistake is? Anyone? Hint. It's the same mistake our own Eagle Knights made heading north from the Falcon's Hollow into the Five Kings Mountains. Anyone? Gilda, you should know this. Sir Odker was a member of that particular expedition, and I have my doubts that he failed to mention it.
The lecture hall erupts in a nervous laughter as Professor Marythane points out one of Odker's more obvious foibles. The short-cropped red hair of Squire Gilda of August shakes out a no. He's mentioned it once or twice, if I recall, but that particular mistake was underestimating the locals. See, there are these little impassioned beings, from the first, I think, called Twigjacks. Tiny little sticks that fought the platoon of knights to a standstill. Ended up having to go around. Cost them nearly a week, if I recall.
Exactly,
the professor roars gleefully.
They underestimated the locals. Twigjacks, as you mentioned, are a ferocious and rather deadly foe, specifically when encountered on their own ground, and this is exactly how Pointed Shade was able to defend against the Chilaxians. He had only a handful of druids from the grove and went to confront the Hell Knights. Odds were not in their favour, but when the battle turned toward the Hell Knights, the Twigjacks arrived in numbers. Their unconventional tactics drove the Hell Knights not only from the Gangair, but all the way back to Cheliax. The point is that a home is a home, and if threatened, even natures would normally repel, such as the Twigjack and the Leshy. The locals can be called upon for defence. They know the terrain, and that can be the advantage that swings a battle, or even a war. That will be all for today. Remember, next week is your final week of Warfare Lore, and should you pass your assessment, you'll be put into field with your knight. And let me be clear, I expect you all to exceed expectations. Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Pathfinder 2nd Edition and the lore that surrounds them.
Salt and pepper watermelon, salt and pepper watermelon. Welcome to an episode of Encounter This, where I feel like I'm going to screw up my words today. So I'm practicing beforehand. I am Freeman Splinter Spray Easton. Whew, that was rough. And today, James Bramble Kid will be taking us through a creature known as the Twigjack on Bestiary number 2, page 270. See, I screwed it up. Welcome. I'm excited. The sun is shining in my face. It kind of hurts. And let's do a sweet creature that I know nothing about. Tell me what?
Okay. Twigjacks.
Twigjacks.
I chose these creatures based on the name alone, and I just like
We've
to
been
start
doing that
this
a lot
episode.
lately.
Yeah, well, I'm not I'm not crazy familiar with 2E, so
yeah.
But I do want to let the listeners know ahead of time that this should be a pretty short episode because I have failed in my duties. I was not able to find a single cultural reference or a single pop culture analog that I thought was appropriate, which is new to me. I wanted more time to try and hunt something down, but I came up empty. So right off the bat, if you're watching this on YouTube, throw up a comment on a creature you think would be a good cultural analog, or you can find us over in our Discord at unchartednorth.com/Discord. There's an Encounter This channel where you can just light me up and I'll probably read it.
This is a rare moment, listeners and viewers.
Yeah.
James is specifically requesting that you at him.
No, no, that was not my request.
You heard it here first. Adam.
Oh God. Okay, let's just move quickly past that. These are the Twigjacks. So this is a small creature made of prickly brambles woven together with vines. They usually have a mossy growth atop their head like hair, and their mouth is just sticks across its face that have been broken into the vague form of a mouth. And in some places around its body, in this particular image on its knee and on its shoulder, it has sprigs of new growth.
Okay. That's a fun little thing.
Yeah, it's like this bipedal thing made of roots and twigs. They're pretty neat.
All right.
As far as Pathfinder is concerned, these are impetuous and incredibly violent.
Okay.
Yeah.
They look so well. I don't want to say they look friendly per se, but yeah.
They are not.
Okay.
They care deeply for their forests, and they do in fact consider them to be their forests. Mm-hmm. They will harass any outsiders who enter. But they're not territory with other forest creatures.
Okay. So they can tell the difference.
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
So from time to time, they will rally with Fae and other Sylvans against a threat. Maybe it's a logging or somebody tried to come and take their territory or what have you. And they will always arrive eager to fight, especially when they're not invited.
Okay. I like it.
They are, on occasion, mistaken for leshies, but don't do that. They don't like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not into the leshy. Okay.
They have a very, very low opinion of leshies.
Oh, why is that?
Yeah. They didn't say, but I imagine because they're nonviolent.
Okay.
Yeah. It is specifically stated that some Fae are embarrassed by these particular cousins. But redcaps, quicklings, spriggans, and that vein of Fae absolutely adore these creatures, specifically because of their violent tendencies.
Okay, that adds up. That's fun.
Yeah. They will sometimes form small communities called brambles. And they will aid each other in times of need or to extract some great vengeance. And brambles can be anywhere from 3 to 30 individuals, but once their mission or their calling is complete, they disperse. They're traditionally solitary creatures, except when they've got something to hurt. Then they'll just dogpile on.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
That's little nuisances.
Pretty much, yeah, except as we'll find out later, they're incredibly deadly.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. They are in fact Fae, and they are found in the First World. Sometimes, because of that, they'll find religion, specifically with the eldest of the First World. But on the material plane, they prefer to worship false deities of their own design.
Okay. They're really independent, eh?
Yeah. So these deities could be a shadow in a bush, tangles of tree branches, or even just a random cave sometimes. They'll just consider that deific. These faiths are obviously highly localized and are not clerical. So if you happen to play a cleric Twigjack, you couldn't just make your deity a tangle of branches that you saw this one time. Mm-hmm. Okay. But they do tend to inspire zealous crusades against non-Fae. So if you find a random cave that you thought was your deity and there happens to be a horse sleeping in it, maybe you now just hate all horses.
Oh, that's super fun.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really, really neat little creatures. And yes, they are absolutely ridiculous. But that's it. Less than 10 minutes in, and we've already covered all of the lore.
Well, I want to know more about like their kind of connections to those other creatures. Like we've already covered red caps, quicklings. I don't think we ever covered in 5e, but you know they are like little fey creatures. Spriggans is something I'm curious about. At a quick glance, apparently they resemble muted hairless gnomes. I thought they were going to be like a tree creature, but apparently not. I think they're just like some sort of gnome-related creature from the first world, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, they were some of the first gnome immigrants over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
which is why they've got like issues with their hair growth and why they only kind of look like gnomes, because gnomes evolved further and then they moved over. But the first generation of gnomes that moved over are Spriggans, I think, if I'm understanding that lore correctly.
That's neat. That would be a fun creature to cover sometime, given or by the sounds of it. All right, cool. I just love it. You know what I'm immediately reminded of is was it the Sprites episode that I did in 5e forever ago? You know, and just how territorial they were. And they just like didn't allow anyone like to invade their area, and they thought so highly of themselves too, you know, and they were convinced they were the best and they were powerful and stuff. You know, it just really doesn't have a proper scope of the world at large. That's fun.
Yeah,
that's a cool little creature though. I like it.
Yeah, I'm not upset by it. I mean, I wish I found something more, like I said in the intro, but
yeah, I could see how this creature, like when you're trying to research like IRL stuff, you could probably at best find very loose connections at best. You know, it's just one of those, definitely sounds like one of those creatures that's just like kind of appears in a story, but not really, you know, in so many bits of folklore.
Normally I have a thread to pull on. Like in my head, I come up like immediately with something between all the bestiaries that I've read and all the research we've done for this show. And all the pop culture that I've consumed, there's always something that kind of comes up. The only thing that I came up with, and that was right as we were about to press record, is only like mildly tangentially related, and that is the movie Treevenge, and I use movie very loosely.
Yeah, okay.
But that's like full-size evergreens. It's not these like tiny little sprites.
Right,
you know,
sure.
Like thorn in a side. Like these do remind me a lot of the sprites that you covered.
Okay, yeah. Now, their hatred of leshies piques my interest too, right? It's you said these things are found in the first world. They're from the first world.
Yep, they're from the first world.
Okay, and are they intelligent creatures? Would you say, or not so much?
Well, their intelligence is 0, so not bad.
Okay, right. Not dumb per se. Okay. Yeah, it's because I'm just wondering about like what their comparison to leshies would be. You know, a quick glance again.
Oh,
shows
it's because they hate being compared to living trees.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. I was just like kind of glancing through here too. It's like because they're leshies like manifest from like what a skilled practitioner primal magic combines nature spirit with a body. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so leshies are technically animated plants, and they hate the idea that they were ever inanimate, I guess, because these are like actual creatures from the first world. They just don't like being thought that one time I was just a bush or a pile of twigs and some druid fucked up and brought me to life.
Exactly. Okay, that makes a little more sense. That's a hilarious little tidbit, but I love that a lot. That'd be really funny.
And
I've never
do
seen
love
a Leshy
being
in action.
Yeah,
well, at least not a PC, not a PC, I should say. I've definitely technically ran a Leshy in my very early days around on 2E, and I'm sure I screwed it up. But I've never seen anyone play a Leshy, and I think they're kind of fun. They are a little bit whimsical in that the regard, you know, for a PC. But I think they're really
they're
neat.
more commonly found as companions for the Order of the Leaf Druid, I think.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a thing. One of our listeners was playing a Leshy for a while as well, and I think it was a Leshy Druid, and had lots of fun stories.
Oh, I thought it was a druid with a Leshy.
Oh, no, I'm pretty sure they were a Leshy, yeah.
Okay. Well, you know who you are. You know where to find us.
PJP.
turtlenorth.com/Discord.
Yeah. But that'd be really funny. It'd be really funny to have, like, you know, if you had a Leshy PC to like, adventuring through the forest, this is the sort of creature you might want to bring up just to like fuel a silly, like create a silly feud over something so, nonsensical or like just misunderstood. Just see how the player plays that out. Don't get too far into like, we hate your kind of shit, but I want to avoid that. But be the sort of thing of just like, I imagine like it being more of like a puff my chest out at you kind of thing. You're like, oh, you're one of those? Well, I'm one of these. And, just like kind of get all up in each other's face.
You could do that. But again, I want to, while researching the Twigjacks, like trying to find cultural lore, I was pulling on a lot of threads and I was Googling Twigjacks or animated shrubs and stuff like that just to find something tangentially related. But almost 100% of what you find from Googling Twigjack is this archive of Nethys link that we'll post. But also I found a couple of websites, specifically Reddit and the Daily Bestiary Tumblr, that warn of the deadliness of these tiny creatures. There are so many people in that Reddit thread who have TPK'd a party with these creatures. Yeah. Like,
cool.
Almost nobody who commented didn't kill a PC, like at least one PC during combat. Yeah.
Okay.
So that got me really excited.
Well, that makes me want to go to the mechanics.
Okay.
Shall we?
Here we go. CR3. Creature rating 3. AC 19.
Level 3. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
HP 50.
Mm-hmm.
They're tiny, chaotic evil, and have the Fey and plant traits.
Okay, 50 HP for a tiny level 3 creature. That's wild. That does seem high.
It gets so much wilder.
Okay.
The recall knowledge is both nature for both Fey and plant. That's DC 18, unspecific 16, specific is 13. They have a perception of 9, which is a +9 bonus to their initiative, essentially, and a speed of 25. So they're not slow either.
Okay. Yep.
They speak Common and Sylvan and have dark vision. Their ability scores are 2 for strength, 4 for dex, 2 for con, 0 for intelligence, 2 for wisdom, and 1 for charisma.
Okay.
They got a +11 to their acrobatics, a +9 to athletics, a 7 to nature, and an 11 to stealth.
Okay. I mean, quick, sprightly, quiet, tiny, all adds up.
Yep. Yeah. They have a 9 fortitude save, a +11 to reflex, and a +7 to their will, and they are weak to fire 5, which, it's a stick.
It's a plant. Yep.
Their melee attack is a claw attack. It's an 11-7-3. It is agile and finesse. It is a 1d10 +4 slashing, which is not a small amount of damage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not at all. Max damage 14.
Yeah. Third level, that'll put down a cleric.
Yeah. Especially if you're like, you're probably not fighting these. Let me just start it right now. We're probably not fighting these while you're at level 3. You're probably fighting maybe multiple of these at a slightly higher level. Like, these is not like a level 2 party fighting one of these, Yeah. Because that would be dangerous. But yeah,
it
please
was.
Do go on.
One of the Redditors commented it was a level 5 party fighting 3 of these, and he killed 3 of the players.
Oh.
Or sorry, they killed 3 of the players. So all those links will be in the description if you want to check that thread.
Okay.
They have one ranged attack. It's called Splinter. It is 11, 6, and 1 for the maps. It is a 30-foot range, 1d6 +4 piercing, deadly 1d6.
Ooh.
So what that means is if you critically hit, you add an extra d6. That's 2d6 +4 piercing on a critical.
Yeah. That's brutal. So that's it's technically 2d6, but it's 1d6 +4 doubled plus 1d6. That's why it's so deadly,
so right? 3d6 +4.
It's effectively 3d6, sort of. Yeah, it's wild. That's a sniper right there.
Yeah, the crazy shit is that's not even like those are fine, but the other actions is where shit goes sideways.
Okay.
So they have a 2-action ability called Splinter Spray. Mm-hmm. This is a 15-foot cone, 4d6 piercing, DC 20 basic reflex save, but it has a 1d4 cooldown.
Yeah. 46 basic reflex. That could be brutal. That could be really brutal.
Yeah.
Damn.
15-foot cone.
Yeah. And like given the, in my experience, the incredibly wide range of successes and failures on staves in general from the PCs, like it doesn't almost doesn't matter if your highest is your reflex. You could still be fucked by that DC. Find a way to take double damage on damn 46 times 2.
DC 20 is not anything to shake a stick at. Like your critical success on that is a natural 20 or a 30, which at 3rd to 5th level, you probably need an 11 on the die to even hit that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's bonkers.
Yeah. And now it gets real fucking crazy.
Okay.
Remember that these are forest dwelling creatures and they will only ever really be found in the forest.
Yep.
Their last ability is called Bramble Jump. This is 3 actions. It has the Conjuration, Plant, Primal, and Teleportation trait.
Fun.
It is required that the Twigjack is in undergrowth, but it scrambles into the undergrowth and teleports to another square of undergrowth within 60 feet.
Okay.
Does not trigger reactions.
All right. Because it's not technically a move action.
And it's not technically a spell. So they're just night crawling around the battlefield, popping off splinter sprays.
I can picture it just like foom, 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 just like up and down, like those little games, the little rabbits you get a bump in the head or whatever, the gophers. Just da, 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 da. How many actions is that though?
That's 3 actions. So that's their whole turn. But if you're fighting 3 of these, just
you never know which one's gonna pop up where. And
not only that,
honestly,
undergrowth is classified as difficult terrain, so it's going to have concealment because it's a tiny creature. You're going to be moving at half speed because it's difficult terrain, unless you're a ranger or you have the favored terrain. Like there are so many other things outside this creature that you need to take in consideration with this combat. Because what? Like, you know,
because I mean, this creature, like if you're fighting 3 of them and they're standing right in front of you side by side, the first round of combat they can just go foop foop foop. And that might be their whole round of combat, but they are now in 3 different directions surrounding you. And if they do it right, they all can 15-foot cone you in the next round and fuck you up. That's crazy. This is why I was talking to a friend of mine today about the math in Pathfinder, how it functions, and how I think the beauty of the system is that the idea is progression at a horizontal rate, not a vertical one. So it's like everything grows horizontally rather than just like increasing in constant power and like whatever. It's like everything grows together. However, it can be so deadly, you know, all the time, including at level 1. We learned that the hard way. But you know, to me, one of the most important things to do is remember, like, you got to play the creatures you're playing, you know, in a realistic way, because the math can't solve that for you. The math doesn't make everything fair. If you just make these creatures expert tacticians, you'll screw everybody over. You know, the only, like, I can see how deadly these creatures could be. It's so clear now that we've got through it. Like, it's crazy. But
right? Like,
also,
I love these creatures. Yeah.
But also, do they have the wherewithal, the intelligence, the practice at all in the scenario you're running to actually do what I said, where they just three different directions and then fire off at the perfect range without hitting each other? Like, you know, if you do that.
So built right into the lore is the word impetuous. So I don't necessarily think so. These are brash creatures. And I think that if you give these any sort of tactics at all, and you stack these creatures and the party is within level range, somebody's going down. Like, these are brutal. Especially when you stack those environmental factors on, like tiny in difficult terrain. Like, I would give it like partial cover at all times.
I mean, kinda, right?
Like,
I mean, just behind another creature alone, they could share creature spaces. You know, most creature spaces. So it's, you know, you already have to move out of the way to, like, you know, to hit, because you can't hit in your own space. Like, yeah, that's
You just bamf into somebody else's space, throw up a claw or even a splinter, like even from 30 feet away. Like, if you crit, that's 3d6. Like,
yeah, if you bramble jump into someone's space and they're like, crap, I got to get away, and then they might step away and swing twice. They might stride away twice and swing and fire off something, but that's like their whole turn. And at 50 HP, 19 AC, like there's a good chance one of those, if they go try to hit you twice, one of them misses. And even if you crit, you're not taking this thing down in one shot. And now you're in perfect range for a goddamn splinter spray. Which
is a plus 11, let me remind you, which is not a small number.
Yeah, man. It's that's crazy. I did not. You said deadly. But yeah, don't make these expert tacticians. That would be so dangerous. You just can't do it.
Like, you really, really can't. I mean, maybe if you want to throw the elite template on one of them and make one of them an expert tactician as like a veteran of the combat.
Yeah.
But the elite template brings their attack modifier up to plus 13. So like, I don't know if you want to do that.
Yeah. I think maybe there's like a little bit of an unwritten rule in the creation of creatures like this, in that the lore, the stat block is really about reflecting the lore, as and then some, and that's why we've often gone across, like, let's do comparisons. Do these add up to what we've read? And the stat block, are they missing something? Does that thing make sense? But the fact that they are written as impetuous, they have a bit of a lower intelligence. Like, those are signs you need to know how to run this creature. And I think Paizo goes out of their way to do that. They don't always nail it. No one always nails it, but it's a very important thing. Don't take stat blocks and just put them to full use. One, it doesn't really create a flavorful combat or like a scenario or situation. It's kind of a little bit drab. Some people might want you to do that. I know some groups just want, like, give us tactics, give us a chess game, and that's brutal. But a lot of the time you want something a little flavorful. Yeah. you need the right team though, James.
Yeah, that is correct.
Shots fired.
You know what? I have the right team backing me on Stemming the Tide. Most of the time.
Most of the time. Except that one time you called retreat, no one retreated.
Yeah, that was rough.
Died. Yeah. But yeah, the point is that, you don't have to role play these creatures the way they're written all the time, but always remember that whatever lore is written there is probably intended to match the stat block. And if the stat block is deadly like this, you might want to keep things like impetuous, in the way you play them, in order to make it
at least for a good
fair scenario.
They do have a +2 wisdom, which is nothing to shake a stick at. And there's nothing saying that combat tactics can't be earned over time, which is, kind of how
they're effectively always going to be in their favored terrain too, right? When you fight them. So they know how to navigate their surroundings. So there is that,
Yeah.
But
so there is something there, but I wouldn't chess game this out. I wouldn't sit down and be like, okay, first turn, before the players roll initiative, they're all gonna, like, I wouldn't set this combat up like I would for something that means something,
Right.
I would like, these would be like harrying, like little harrying creatures, just show up and to piss the party off.
Yeah.
But this could go sideways so fast, especially when like, difficult terrain is such a crippling thing in 2E. Like, we rarely ever come across it in Stemming the Tide, but when we do, it sucks. Yeah. Especially like me, who I play a PC whose movement is already lower than normal. Like, that's 10 feet of movement per round. Like, it is ruthless for melee combatants.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely. Yeah.
Ugh.
Just remember, folks, always have a wide variety of attacking options, especially martials. Don't always try to fight with the one thing. It's okay to specialize to a degree, but lessons have been learned by many a player. If you
carry a backup piece,
if you only do this one thing, something's gonna fuck you. Whether that's as simple as a range attack versus a melee attack, or even a damage type. Those small things. Yes, like some people kind of get a little worked up about like, well, but I've invested so much in being able to do bludgeoning, or I don't really do a lot of range damage because of my build. That's fine. It's better than not doing anything at all. Little bits always matter. So you might be at a severe disadvantage, but at least add something to what's going on.
At least you have an option. Yeah.
Yes.
If you're a melee focused character, don't leave your javelins in Otari like one of us did.
Exactly.
There's a hot little spoiler for an upcoming episode of Stemming the Tide.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as little lore there is, it's kind of fun and flavorful. It's simple, no IRL stuff. That's fine. But this is definitely a conversation sparker, at the very least. I noticed. Unless are you done? Is there anything else you want to add before I?
No. I just threw up the homebrew splash screen so you could dig in.
Okay, perfect. Well, it's not technically homebrew, but it's a piece of something you may have missed. In fact, there is an item in Pathfinder 2nd Edition called the Twigjack sack.
Oh, I did miss that completely.
And it's actually an alchemical bomb that's featured in one of the adventure paths. So it's basically a sharp, flexible brambles that poke through a sack made of intricately intertwined plant fibers. The sack's contents creak under the strain of the tightly compressed bundle. When thrown, the Twigjack sack bursts open, spraying brambles in all directions that gouge and slash nearby enemies. It deals the listed piercing damage based on its level and persistent bleed damage and splash damage. And many types of Twigjack sacks grant an item bonus to attack rolls. So it's a bomb. It's just a bomb that does piercing damage. Yeah, and piercing and bleed. And piercing splash, which is kind of an odd one. But
that's cool.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
I think it's probably named after them as opposed to made of them. But
absolutely, yeah. I literally found it because I typed in Twigjack 2e, and then the first option was the creature, but then the item was just below it.
Yeah, I must have missed that completely. But I'm glad you found that. That's great. I love when items are like themed to creatures. I think that's so interesting.
Super cool. Definitely, like,
I'm going to do this. You know what this reminds me of? I covered.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I'm gonna invent this nail bomb. But you know what it reminds me of? That one time I almost got killed by a Twigjack. That's basically what this is.
Pretty much. This is the Pathfinder version of a pipe bomb.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, you take a piece of PVC pipe, you fill it full of nails, then you stick a can of hairspray in it, and you're good.
That's it. Go to town.
That is kind of it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Shit.
The only thing I can find, the only kind of thing I tried to find beyond that was a creature called Spring-Heeled Jack, but it seems to be totally separate, perhaps. But maybe it's worth looking at down the line soon.
Yeah, Spring-Heeled Jack reminded me more of something we'd probably touch on if we ever revisited. Shit, what are they called? Not flame skulls. The other little balls of light that you did.
Oh, will-o-wisps.
Will-o-wisps.
Really? Why Spring-Heeled Jack? I don't think they're related.
Well, the concept of will-o-wisp is directly related to Spring-Heeled Jack or the Jack O' Lantern.
Oh,
yeah, because Spring-Heeled Jack is Jack O' Lantern.
Oh, right. We may or may not have covered that, and I just forgot.
We did touch on that a little bit. I don't
okay.
remember how deeply we went in, but if you're interested in that, feel free to go back and check out will-o-wisps.
Why not?
Yeah. If you like this tight little half-hour episode, you can find us on patreon.com/unchartednorth. Most of our episodes are substantially longer than this. So your money won't go to waste if you decide to give it to us.
It's worth noting that wasn't by design. We tried to keep them half hour, 45 minutes, and we just couldn't.
Yeah, it just wasn't. We just found too much interesting shit. Yeah. This is Paizo's fault, I guess. $5 a month will get you a handwritten thank you letter, some stickers, a theme button, all that stuff. Yeah, it is definitely his fault. If you like our logo or any of our logos, really, the Stemming the Tide one, Critty down there, or the Uncharted Compass, you can find a bunch of different styles of merch at unchartednorth.com/shop, including this cool dad cap that I'm wearing right now. You can find us on our socials. They're all linked below in the description. Facebook, Instagram. You guys will figure it out. If you want to find the show notes for this, as well as our reading list, you can find that at encounterthis.ca. If you could rate and review on your platform of choice, that really helps us get noticed. And if you're on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button to be notified when new episodes come out. These are all a video all the time now, so eventually I'll be adding our 5e back catalog to the YouTube channel there, but it won't be as visually entertaining as these ones are. That's for sure. But that's going to do it for us today, creatures. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for this little guy, this little Twigjack of an episode.
Yeah.
And we will see you again in 2 weeks for our next most episode, which will be, I don't know yet. So
something.
We'll have to tune in for the surprise.
We'll figure it out. And just remember, hit us up on the Discord for lively conversation about creatures like this. Mistakes in what we did, fun stories. Hit us up if you've killed someone with this thing. We would love to hear that story in the Discord.
Those are my favorite stories.
To be honest, though, I would also be happy to hear about you were building a deck and you got a splinter and it made you want to die, and that's tangentially related. Because those things are debilitating. It's brutal.
Yeah, the two of us are pretty much always online on the Discord, so you can come harass us over there. That again is at unchartednorth.com/Discord, and it will be a direct link to the server in the descriptions of both the audio and video of this. So yeah. Please come on over, hang out, chat with us, throw shade if you got it.
And I'll just leave you this one philosophical thought. What is a splinter but nature's piercing, persistent damage? Always for listening to Encounter This.